Steve, what's up, man?
Who's good, Steve?
Hey,
What do Steve?
everybody, this is Dr. Steve Yanoviak. Say hello.
Dr. Steve is a good buddy from our adventures in Peru. He's coming to us from the University of Louisville. Here's a look at the questions we're going to ask him today.
All right, we're just going to kick it off here.
What made you interested in ants in the rainforest?
I've been interested in ants since I was a kid, and I actually was not studying ants for my graduate work. In Panama, I was working on mosquitoes, but one of my committee members, so one of the people who was advising me for my research at the time, worked on ants. And one day we were in a forest working together, and he said, well, if you weren't working on mosquitoes, what would you like to work on? And I said, well, ants. My second number one choice, I guess. And his eyes got really big, and said, well, it's ants. So that became basically how I got involved in ant research in a formal kind of way. But they've always been interesting and fascinating me since I was a kid.
Okay, thank you.
Hi. How did you choose your profession?
So I think my profession kind of chose me.
Oh,
In the sense that it's been soccer ball. This is more or less what I wanted to do. Nobody in my family is at all surprised about what I'm doing today, because since I was just very young, I was fascinated by biology and science in general, but biology in particular. And as a child, I spent a lot of time collecting insects and stealing stuff out of my mom's sewing kits, like in my insects for my collection, those kinds of things. So it wasn't actually until I was an undergraduate in college that I realized that you could have a career in research and basically do everything I wanted to do and get paid for it. So that was sort of how I wound up in this profession, rather than just making it a hobby, I guess.
So our next guy's not here, but he wanted to know if you have any pet ants. Have you brought any home, and do you keep any as pets?
Yeah, so right now we have ant colonies in the lab that we're using for research. So I wouldn't really call them pet ants, but we have we always keep colonies around. I do, in fact, have an ant farm built for my preteen stepdaughter. And at one point, I'd say a couple of years ago, when I first built this, we did have a little ant colony that lived in the house home as a pet colony. But we don't have any pet ants right now. We do have a pet tarantula.
Is it close by?
What's that?
Is it close by?
No, the pet tarantula is at home, and I'm at my office now. What's his name? Its name is Pickle.
Yes.
Its name is actually a short abbreviation for Tickle Me too.
Oh my god.
So we've had Pickle now for about 5 years. She was named when my stepdaughter was actually quite a bit younger. And we were reading a lot of Shel Silverstein.
So you mentioned in one of your articles that ants originally used to have like all of them instead of wings. Why did they evolve not to have wings? Wouldn't their chance of survival be much higher?
Yeah, so ants still do have wings, but only in the male and female reproductive forms. And they need their wings to disperse, to mate with each other, and to found new colonies. But worker ants are what we call secondarily wingless. So back in evolutionary time, all of the ants in the colony had wings like wasps do. And basically, what happened is when ants became soil developed, they lost their wings, the workers. So you still have, if you dig open an ant colony and a piece of old dead wood or dig them up out of the ground, you'll find that there are individuals in the colony that still have wings. And those are the ones that are going to fly around, those are males and females, are going to fly around the main. But all the workers have lost their wings because it's so difficult to move through soil. You have these huge, basically like boat sails attached to you. And so that's why they lost them.
Thank you.
My question is, how does the ant maintain and control its body during gliding when part of their bodies have been amputated?
Yeah, this was an amazing finding for us. And it was, I guess I should back up a little bit and say that pretty much everything about the gliding discovery was new for us. And the fact that they could do it in the first place, and that sort of gliding, basically trying to avoid dying in the forest floor. And then we started doing manipulations where we basically rode legs off of them and the trees, and we've seen how that affected their aerodynamics and ability to fly back to the future. And it was really pretty amazing. We could remove more than 40% of the mass, the weight of an ant, and they could still do this behavior. So, basically taking off my hand here. So this is my little stuffed animal. And about 40% of this ant is experimental. So we took scissors and we cut that off. So that's gone. Now we've just got a head and a bunch of legs. And if you drop this ant, you can still fly back to the future. You can start taking off legs from this ant. And now you got even less of it. And they can still fly back. So what this taught us was that the appendages are important because we definitely saw that even though they could still fly, they couldn't do it as well. Obviously, we're taking away a lot of parts of the hands, not to do it as well. But the fact that they could still do it at all was pretty amazing. And it told us that the ability to glide for an animal like this is all about behavior. It's not so much about morphology. So all they have to do when they're falling is figure out where they need to go and manipulate whatever body parts they have to get themselves there. They have to have enough body parts to do it. So we couldn't take all the legs off the hand. You do that, then you just fall to the ground. But if you take off, one or two pairs of legs, and you give them something to work with, they can still do it. So it was really kind of enlightening how, for lack of a better word, how robust this behavior is. You can do all kinds of crazy things with your hand and still manage to get themselves back to the tree when they're falling. Great question.
Thank you.
I'm interrupt. Are there folks, or do you study any of the neuromuscular connections there? Like, how is that so programmed in such a simple organism? Is there anybody looking at how that's working on a smaller neuromuscular level?
We have not explored that yet. There is somebody in Panama who studies insect brains, and he has approached me to look at things like trying to understand if gliding ants have larger frontal lobes in their brain, those kinds of things. Are they smarter, neurological kind of way? We haven't pursued it though, so we really don't know. Most of our effort has been focused on the behavioral part of it and the aerodynamic part of it. So trying to understand the physics of how to do it. But certainly the next step is going to be doing that neurobiological approach.
Maybe one of these kids will help join you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Coming up.
Hi, Steve. My name's Paul, and my question is separate from
separate from ants, are there any other insects or animals that don't like directly have wings that have also learned this like gliding technique from trees or other large things?
Yeah, well, so you're familiar with like gliding squirrels, pine squirrels. They don't have a true wing, but they have what's called as you flap the skin, it makes them flatter rather than like a kite. But there are actually lots of other examples. The best ones, things that do not have a patagium is what I mean by other examples. So things that have no wing-like structures at all fly. They include lizards. And there is one lizard in Southeast Asia called Draco that has a patagium, it has a wing-like extension of it. But lots of other lizards don't have those extensions, and they can also glide. There's a couple of frog species that just, when they're falling out of a tree, they just stick their webbed feet out, and the webbing of the feet is enough that they can control where they go. And then a really cool one is a gliding snake, also from Southeast Asian forests. So these snakes, when they jump out of a tree, they basically flatten their butt and become essentially a linear wing shape with the air. So if you Google gliding snakes, my buddy Jake Socha was on that, and he's got some videos online that shows you how it's pretty amazing.
Alright, thank you.
So just like spiders and ants can glide, is there more insects like with different abilities, like different special abilities besides gliding?
Well, certainly, I mean, we see lots of amazing adaptations in insects and spiders. Is there something specific you're thinking about?
No, just like something like they like rare and like remarkable like other insects do besides gliding.
In terms of locomotion, I think some of the cooler things we see are like insects using their bodies as a wing, almost, or as a sail. So there are some insects that will go skimming across the surface of the water. For example, like a sailboat, just by raising a wing. Not trying to fly, they're trying to catch the wind. And some of the ant species that we drop don't glide. Instead, they fall like maple seeds. So, a maple tree drops its leaves, they spin. And we call that auto-gyration. And some of the ants that we drop can't glide, but they will auto-gyrate and fall. Do you have any ideas about why that might benefit them? What happens if you spin and fall? I couldn't hear that. It softens the landing. Yeah, that's actually one of the consequences of it. But
it's spinning.
What? I would just say the same thing. It softens the landing.
It softens the landing. So what do you have to do if you're a human being falling out of a plane? What do you have to do to soften the landing?
Parachute.
What does a parachute do?
It like it catches the air so that you're. Yeah, it gives you more air resistance.
Yeah, it slows your fall.
Yeah.
Gives you more surface area.
Yeah, so it slows your fall down. And if you're an ant falling out of a tree, if you slow your fall down, then it improves the chances that you're going to drift from side to side and fall. And if you're drifting from side to side in a forest, you're more likely to run into something that you can grab onto. So that's why we do that. It definitely slows them down as they're falling. That's what we've seen. Yeah, good questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hi. Is the evolution of gliding ants and gliding spiders like related in any way?
It is on the surface. By that I mean that we know that ants and spiders are not at all related. Evolutionarily, they're very, very distant. And so, in order to say that they're evolutionarily related, we would have to say that, okay, first of all, ants and spiders are related, and every time we see gliding behavior in spiders, we should also expect to see it in every ant. We know that's not true. Are related in a different kind of way. This is what we call parallel evolution. It's when you have the same kind of morphology or behavior appearing in really unrelated groups. You may have heard of convergent evolution. The reason we have ostrich-like birds on several different continents. It's just, convergent evolution is widespread. It's basically how your environment shapes your morphology or your behavior in such a strong effect that it doesn't matter if your evolutionary history is, it sort of shapes who you are right now. So the short answer to your question is the fact that both spiders and ants collide has nothing to do with their evolutionary relationship, but it has to do with life in the forest canopy. So animals that live 100 feet above the ground have to deal with that somehow. If you don't have wings, the good strategy is to fly. And so the evolutionary history of gliding is different in ants and spiders, but the evolutionary basis, so in other words, the pressure that causes gliding is the same for both. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sort of like the environmental pressure they're getting because they live 100 feet above the ground is the same for both of them. And they both dealt with the problem in the same way, but it has different evolutionary origins.
Thank you.
Hello, Steve. I'm TJ.
Hey, TJ.
My question is, which continents can canopy ants be found on, and in what climate do they thrive? Because I know they could probably be in a variety of places, but which do they prefer best? I guess you'd say.
Yeah, so anywhere that you have forest, you have canopy ants. And what we see, so I've been over to Africa and Asia, and there's lots of canopy ant species over there. They're very different than the ones we have in the Western Hemisphere. But the other thing we see is that as you move away from the tropics and towards the poles, then you get fewer and fewer ant species, of course. So this is a phenomenon called latitudinal gradient diversity. And it's true for most animals and plants is that as you move away from the poles and towards the tropics, you get more and more diversity, which is why tropical rainforests are so diverse. The ants that we see gliding in different forests are pretty much the same. So one of the more common canopy ant groups, I guess you could say, in tropical rainforests are the carpenter ants. We also have carpenter ants in the U.S. in our forest here, and the carpenter ants here also glide. You go climb a tree in your backyard, and when you find the ants, you should drop them out of it and see if they glide.
That sounds good.
The tricky thing in the temperate zone in these forests is finding a day with no wind. So one of the things that makes this an easy project to do in the tropics is that the tropics are usually located in the doldrums. So we don't have a lot of prevailing winds down there. So it's easy to answer the question if ants are gliding or not. If you try to do the same thing in your backyard, pretty much it's going to be hard to find a day without a breeze. And so you never really know if it was the breeze that caused the ant to glide or if it was the ant itself. I mean, it's, again, a great question.
Thank you.
Hi, Steve. My name is Raina, and I was in your article about worm parasites for the New York Times.
Yeah.
You were explaining how the way the ants became infected, and I was just wondering, why do you think the ants chose bird feces as their mineral suppliers?
minerals, especially salts, are really hard to get in tropical rainforest because it rains all the time. So if you leave, for example, a little packet of salt, or even a package of sugar, anything that's going to be dissolved in water, sitting out on the rainforest floor, it's going to disappear in a matter of minutes on any given day because it rains all the time. Even when it's not raining, the humidity is so high that everything is dripping wet. What happens is, basically all the salts, all the minerals that are available to ants in the forest are being basically dissolved into the soil. And they run out in the streams, and they're not around at all. Bird feces are a great source of salts and minerals because they don't tend to wash off leaves as easily. I don't know how much time you spent playing around with bird feces, I'm assuming not much. But if you did, you'd find out it's kind of gooey, sticky stuff. And it's a great resource for them. There's plenty of it out there. And if you're a canopy ant hanging out on the leaves of the forest, you're very, very likely to run across little patches of bird poop and good stuff. They get so excited about it that their faces all dirty. For a long time, actually, I kept finding worker ants in some of the colonies that I was studying had these white spots on their faces on the top of their head. What is this? It's like some kind of weird bacterial infection, or maybe they've got some kind of fungal infection that's attacking their bodies. And so I scraped off some of this white stuff. And I sent it to a microbiologist. And I said, I think this is some kind of parasitic, some kind of pathogenic infection ants have. She emailed back and she said, well, the bacteria I'm finding in these white specks is actually the same bacteria with bird feces. And suddenly it was like, oh, okay, this makes a little sense. These ants are collecting bird feces and they're getting it all over themselves. Anyway, bird feces are critical and they're a really reliable source of mineral nutrients in the forest. That's why they're
And do the ants not catch on to what the parasites are doing?
Yeah, they don't. And for lack of a better answer, that's about all I can tell you is they have not caught on to this. Now the parasite is kind of ingenious. When we think about the relationship that a host and a parasite have, it's not a friendly one, right? It's not a good thing. The parasite is trying to maximize its reproductive output. It's trying to maximize its survivorship. And the host is trying to survive, period. So there's a conflict of interest. It's very strong, right? So the way that this works is if the parasite is too aggressive and it kills too many members of its host species, then it just will go extinct because the host will die. If you want to be a good parasite, you just want to slow them down. So this is all put all this together. It's called an evolutionarily stable strategy, and basically the idea is a good parasite want to have a fairly low rate of infection. So you sort of you're flying under the radar for your host. You're not being so out, you're not killing so many of them that it becomes a problem for the host. And so getting back to your question, in the case of our ants that are infected by these nematodes, only about 5% of the workers in a colony are infected. And only about 5% of colonies are infected. So 5% sounds like almost nothing, and it is almost nothing. And that's why it's successful. Because the ants are not waking up and saying, wow, where are all these people? Wake up in the morning and you're like, oh, we're missing 5 individuals out of 100. And that's not really relevant to them. Because those 5 individuals could have been lost while they're out working. So it's not a dramatic effect. That's how the parasite maintains itself.
Thank you.
Welcome. Thanks for the question.
Hello, my name is Kyle. My question is, can a nematode worm be born without the tropical ant being its host?
As far as we know, these worms are entirely dependent upon the ants. They have not been found in any other insects that we know of, no other motorcycles that we're aware of. So it's entirely an ant-specific disease.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Will.
Hey.
And my question is, how are nematode worms beneficial to the rainforest?
Yeah, this is kind of like a question I also get a lot, and that is, why are mosquitoes? So every time we run across some species or a group of species that seem to be really kind of a nuisance and not really useful, that's the obvious question. It's a very good question. In the case of the nematodes, I guess at some level, all of the biodiversity out there matters. Everybody plays their role in the forest. The fact that these nematodes are now parasites of these ants, that has not always been the case. It's very likely that these nematodes are probably infecting grasshoppers beforehand. And then birds started eating the grasshoppers, and ants were eating the bird feces that had these nematodes, and then the whole cycle started to perpetuate. So what I'm trying to get at is that what we see today as a very negative relationship between this nematode and this ant probably didn't start out that way. So the nematode probably had other functions in the forest in its evolutionary history. And what we're seeing today is just the product of all of that time. Same thing is true with mosquitoes. So, a lot of mosquitoes serve important ecological functions. We just don't see it that way because they're mostly a pest for us. So simply by virtue of the fact that they are parasites and symbionts, so living inside hosts of other species, makes them evolutionarily relevant. It's shaping the evolution of those ants right now. That's pretty interesting.
Okay. Alright, thank you. Dr. Yanoviak, Scott Rickles. My question is there any news on lianas acting as lightning rods, and how does it work?
Yeah, so we have this hypothesis that you're aware of, where we think that lianas are basically serving as a natural lightning rod, protecting trees against lightning damage in the rainforest. And one of the fundamental assumptions of that hypothesis is that lianas are more conductive than trees. The reason we think lianas are more conductive is that we know that they have more water in their stems. And so this is something that we can actually measure. So the major progress we've made on this recently was done by a graduate student in that. He's gone out with a special resistivity called a mega ohmmeter, and it's got 2 electrodes on it. And he goes out to a tree or to a liana stem, sticks it in, and he measures how much electrical resistivity the stem has. And resistivity, the opposite of conductivity. So we do some simple math, and we can figure out that if you look at liana stems, they are in fact more conductive than tree stems on the same side. It still doesn't answer the question if are they actually serving as lightning rods? And to really answer that question, you have to do the Ben Franklin experiment, where we basically string a balloon up in the air that's trailing a copper wire and tie it to a liana. When lightning strikes the balloon, we'll see what happens to the liana. Now that's a very simplified version of that project, and we're actually doing that. But it's much more complicated. It's much more difficult to accomplish, which is why we don't have the actual data for that. So the short answer to your question is no, we haven't really advanced much in terms of clearly demonstrating lianas serve as lightning rods, but we have really good evidence that they are more conductive And we have now observed 5 different trees in Panama that were struck by lightning last year, and the trees that suffered the most damage were the ones that did not have lianas. So there's some what we would call correlative or anecdotal evidence that says that, yeah, in fact, lianas are protected. So I guess my only other comment would be to say stay tuned, and hopefully next year or two we'll have something more definitive about that.
Great, thank you.
Thanks for the question.
Hi, I'm Indira.
Okay.
So I was wondering, how do you predict that climate change will affect the rainforest and, by extension, the behavior of the ants?
Yeah, so climate change, we already know, is affecting the nighttime temperatures in the forest. So nighttime temperatures are important because trees actually need to cool down a little bit at night. And what we're finding is that the average temperature at night is now about 2 degrees warmer than it was a couple of decades ago. And so trees are continuing to, well, actually they're suffering. And so that's one of the major things that's happening in the forest right now is there's a decline. Does it mean that we're going to see massive die-offs of some species of trees? Some people say, yeah, that's probably what will happen. It's not going to happen in 1 year. It takes a lot of time for these things to occur. But people are tracking mortality rates of trees in the tropics, and so they will be able to answer that question directly with data, hopefully soon. As far as other effects of climate change in the forest, one of the reasons that we study the role of lianas in the forest is because lianas are they're one element of the rainforest that seems to be most sensitive to climate change right now. And in particular, liana abundance is increasing. And we know that ants that live in the treetops depend on lianas for a lot of different things, food, including places to make their nest, and also lianas serve as little highways for ants to get from trees to tree, so that's important for them to do. If lianas are increasing in the forest because of climate change, then we would also expect that to affect the ant diversity that we see in the forest. It may help them. Maybe we'll get more ants or higher diversity in trees, in ants that live in trees, but we don't know that for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi. I was wondering if you could talk to us more about the research work you do with your undergraduates, and what are some of the important things you try to teach them?
The research projects we do with undergraduates, and what are the things we try to teach them. So, typically, an undergraduate working in my lab will start out doing some fairly basic things. Maybe just be like washing glass or in the lab and organizing our stuff. And then as they get more established, I'm convinced that they're actually dedicated to the work, and we start giving them some of their own projects to work on. And the undergraduates in my lab work pretty closely with graduate students also. So if I have a graduate student who's out collecting ants for a diversity project, then very often the undergrad will go out with that person and collect data we do alongside them. So you sort of have this shadowing going on. And generally that's my approach to mentoring undergraduates, is to have them shadow us in the field so they learn how projects are developed and how the data are collected. For the really exceptional undergraduates, we give them independent projects to work on. And usually we develop that from start to finish. The student will be involved every step of the way through design and development questions, and all the way through the writing. And so that's how I deal with undergraduate. What was the second part of your question?
What are some of the important things you try to teach them?
So I think the answer to that actually it operates on multiple levels. So start out with the personal level. Probably the most important thing we teach undergraduates is to be responsible and educated. As a college student, and even as as high school students, your lives are very busy. You have lots of competing interests every day. The problem is that you have to prioritize things, and so teaching undergraduates to make research participation a priority is one of our biggest challenges. So getting people to show up when they say they're going to show up, getting people to follow through and collect data properly. So sort of the details, being a good employee, those are important things to teach. Now, the other side of it, on the scientific side, probably the biggest thing that I aim for when I'm working with an undergraduate is to help them develop good questions and help them understand what is the scope of a good question. So we do a lot of this. Your question is actually very, very spot on some of the problems we've dealt with in the last couple of weeks. It's really easy to come up with very big, broad questions that are not testable. By testable, I mean you can't really go out and get any data to show that something's happening. So what I have my students do is try to pare those questions down. So if you came to me and say, okay, why is the sky blue? There's a very big problem. It's kind of part of this, unless we have a replicated planet to work with. But we can attack parts of that question. And by doing, basically approaching very small segments of that same larger question, we can start to answer little baby steps. And, so scientifically, that's what I try to train my undergraduates. Think in terms of what kind of baby steps do we need to take in order to get into the bigger question. Okay?
Yes, thank you.
So when you're ready to be an undergraduate researcher, give us a shout.
My question is, how do you plan and design your experiments?
I think fundamentally for me, I have to spend a lot of time thinking about what is the exact question we're trying to answer, and that will drive the design. So, it's probably one of the more challenging aspects of my job, but it's also one of the most rewarding parts. And it is one part of my job that requires a lot of creativity. So if I have a question that I want to answer, it'll often keep me awake at night, thinking about what is the best experiment, the most parsimonious experiment, the simplest experiment that I can do to answer that question. And it's totally fun, totally frustrating, but super rewarding when it works. So, and it's kind of one of those like light bulb moments. You know when you got it. I finally figured out exactly what are the data I have to collect to answer this question. How can I get them? So that's exciting for me. It's basically problem solving. If you like math and problem solving, that's what we do.
Thank you.
Hi, Cameron. Can you tell us about a crazy or close call you had in the field?
Yeah. So we deal with monkeys a lot. That's exciting and unnerving sometimes. I'll tell you two stories. In one case, I was working on a project that required me to sit in the tree for a while. And I would go to the tree day after day and sit in this spot, collect some data. And one day, I went up later than normal. And it was then that I discovered that the monkeys were also visiting this tree. They were probably coming through every day at the same time. And I was getting there before them. So one day I went later, so I ran into them. I was up there. They kind of came through and ran into me. Boy, were they surprised to see another primate in their tree. And I remember they came through and they were looking at me and they were very wary of me. But they were kind of like, they didn't look afraid of me. They were like keeping an eye on me, but kind of like, nah, what's this character doing in our tree? And everything was fine except that at one point, I was positioned between a mom and her baby. And the mom freaked out. And I thought for sure she was going to kick me out of this tree. This is a spider monkeys can bite a lot. And they're nasty animals. They're fun to watch. They're nasty up close. So that was one of those moments where my adrenaline level was way, way higher than I felt comfortable with when I was up there. Nothing happened. I got out of the situation. Finally, monkeys moved on. So that's like, I'll tell you 3 stories. So that's the least exciting of the 3, I think, in terms of remembering it. The second was when I was climbing into a tree and I got swarmed by bees. Now, if you're hanging by a rope and bees swarm you, you're going to die. You're never going to be able to get down fast. Bees will follow you. So, climbing this tree, and I hear this first bee. And then I hear 3 or 4 span of a second. And pretty soon I'm bees everywhere. And I thought I was going to die. Then I realized that they were still me. And so it was kind of one of those moments where, oh my gosh, this was scary, really, really scary. And so I was able to climb down and get out of the bees. But all of these bees are stingless and have really sharp mandibles, and they were biting me and basically taking little chunks of skin out of my face. So it was really unpleasant. But at least I survived. And the last and most exciting case was when I was climbing a tree in a very remote part of Costa Rica. And I'm standing on a branch. So I climb up into the ground, I'm standing on a branch of this tree. And you kind of have that little sixth sense in the back of your head that says, something's not right here. I'm not sure what it is. It just don't feel right. And something smells right in this tree. What is going on? I look around. I'm standing on an eyelash viper. So it's an extremely venomous snake. I'm standing right on it. And I'm looking at the snake, and the head is just starting to turn in the direction of my foot. And I'm climbing in socks. I'm putting shoes on because everything is slippery. Aim for it. All the surfaces are wet. And if you have hard-soled shoes up there hiking boots, it's going to slip off the benches. So you climb in socks. I'm standing on the snake in socks. The snake is looking at me, and I quick jumped my foot off of it and put my foot down somewhere else. I remember standing there, and I think it was probably 30 seconds to a minute. I guess I was totally convinced I'd been bitten. And I started to have like pseudo pain in my foot because I was so convinced. There's no way in the world you step on a snake that could not get you. And it didn't happen. I didn't get it. And I will never forget that. And what I smelled, was it smelled funny in the tree? If you've ever had a snake, snakes smell funky. They smell really musky. And I smelled it when I climbed into the tree, and I didn't think about what it meant. But I will never forget that now. And I think what happens is these eyelash vipers hang out in their home tree. They probably never leave it, and the tree just smells like snake. So, give it over. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Kiara. And my question for you is, out of all the places that you've visited during your various expeditions, which place was your favorite?
So I really love the Amazon rainforest. It's got such great diversity, also a really amazing culture from the native people there. And that's really, if I could go anywhere today, I would go back down there right now. I've also been to India and Africa, Australia, really one fringe benefit of this job that I didn't anticipate when I started. When I was in high school, and when I was in college also, I never imagined I'd ever go anywhere besides Canada. And so it's like India. For culturally, going to India was an amazing experience. Going to Africa, phenomenal. It's like a different world. If you haven't been there, it's hard to explain the feeling you get. You definitely feel like it's exotic. It's much familiar to anything. So, but in terms of my favorite place, the Amazon rainforest.
Great. Thank you.
Hey,
Hi.
I'm Gianna.
Hi, Gianna.
So my question is, what are you working on right now, and what inspires you to continue your research?
So the big thing we're working on right now is like trying to understand what are the effects of lightning strikes on trees and tropical rain, and that's really exciting. In terms of new ideas that we're trying to develop right now is we want to know how the smell of a large ant colony in the rainforest affects the other animals around it. It sounds kind of hokey, but if you walk through a rainforest, every now and then you smell something really weird. Sometimes it's a vanilla organ. So you're walking through the forest.
It's all good. It's passing through. It's all good.
And other times you walk through the forest and it smells like bubble. And then it'd be like one little patch, like 3 or 4 feet along the trail. It's like super strong. With some flowers. And then you walk out of that zone and it doesn't smell like that anymore. Well, there's certain ant nests that are huge and they put off this really powerful sort of perfume. And we've always wanted to know, well, how do other ants and other animals in the rainforest respond to that hue? So that's one of the questions we're going to try to work out right now.
Cool.
And then what was the second part of your question?
What inspires you to continue your research?
Yeah, so actually that's a really, it's almost a loaded question because funding is so difficult to get. It's almost like, why do we continue doing this? Yeah. So that's sort of the cynical side of that. To keep going, I love what I do. I absolutely love my job. And I get up every morning, I don't care if we have a grant or if we don't have a grant. I love what I do. I like coming in here working with students. I like thinking about nature. A lot of days I come in, I've got to deal with a bunch of paperwork and stuff. It's not very fun, but I still love coming to my house.
Awesome.
Playing around with, employee ants.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, cool. Steve, that's our bell. Thanks so much. You're the best.
Be sure to check out Dr. Steve Yanoviak at canopyants.net and subscribe below to Madden Science.